You belong on every ground your feet grace, so don't ever feel out of place. Take up space and belong. This earth is your birthplace. Hey loves, welcome back to the Sensual Genius channel. In this video, I am going to do 5 romance movies that influence my ideas of love. Now, I am bed bound today because I am in pain, which is why I got the scarf. I have collarbone pain, and a lot of the times it gets worse when it's exposed to air. So I'm keeping it covered and I'm trying to rest it as much as I can. I'm supposed to have this pillow or whatever. I'm trying to rest it as much as I can, but also trying to be productive. But I'm gonna go ahead and get into this video so it won't be too long. So the first movie on my list is Soul Food. Now I don't know if y'all consider Soul Food a romance movie because it was a lot about family, familiar relationships, but also romantic relationships. But Soul Food shaped my idea of love, and not just romantically, but as a family. So it shows a dysfunctional family having no choice but to come together because the glue that held the family together dies in the movie. So it pretty much kind of showed how trivial a lot of things are when it comes to your experiences with your family and stuff. And I'm not gonna say it ain't that everything ain't that deep and everything is trivial and it's not important or whatever, but some things are. I feel like sometimes we have a hard time forgiving people, especially our family, and we allow the things that happen to us or the things that somebody may have done or said to us keep us from having the family together. So I feel like Soul Food influenced my ideas of um what the realities of what a family looks like, but also showing that you can continue to be family and continue to keep the family together even through all of the things that you've been through, all of the things that have been done to you. And sometimes being a family and having that unit and supporting each other is more important than the thing that somebody did to hurt your feelings. Not saying that it's not valid, your feelings isn't valid, not saying that it's not important, it doesn't mean anything, but I just feel like, sometimes you have to forgive your family for certain things now. For other things, maybe not, but that's a conversation for another day. We could talk about family stuff another day, but Soul Food influenced my ideas of love, familiar love, and also romantic love. And it's not uh it's not an example of perfect relationships, but it's an example of like the realities. For instance, Bird and Lim's relationship. Lim was insecure because didn't have a job and he couldn't work, and she was pretty much the breadwinner in the relationship, and he struggled with that. He also struggled with his dark past, like being in the streets and doing what he had to do to to make money, and then having to have humility when Bird did get him a job from I think her ex-boyfriend or something like that, but him not being able to do that and also losing that job because of his pride and his ego or whatever. But it pretty much just showed like the realities of a relationship. Things can happen. The power dynamic changing in Bird and Lim's relationship, at least from his point of view. I feel like men, when they feel like you are the one who's making the most money and stuff like that, that they don't have control or power over the situation, which is problematic because you shouldn't be looking at a relationship and wanting to have control and power over your partner. It should be a partnership, and you shouldn't feel no type of way that your partner is making more money than you because it's supposed to be y'all money, not just their money. But it just kind of showed, different sides of relationship. For instance, Terry and her husband, I forgot his name. Him having a cheating problem and her feeling like she had to carry the family on her back and feeling like no one understood her or gave her grace when she needed it. Um, and then you have Vivica's character and her husband, which they had a pretty good relationship. They had something that functioned well. They respected each other. They knew how to communicate. So it showed so many different sides of relationships. And I think it's important, like, while I do think it's important for us to see positive examples of relationship and positive relationships, I also think it's important for us to see realistic relationships, because I do feel like we live in a society where we are constantly comparing, we're constantly placing the standards of celebrities, influencers, and people who make more money than us on us. Like, we allow their standards to reflect us when we're not in a position that they're in. Most of us women are not in an environment where we're dating, where we have access to men who are making 6+ figures. We are not in those situations. However, because you watched Drea Nicole and Lex P, and shout out to Drea and Lex because I love them on Poor Minds. You watch their podcast and they're talking about BDBs and dating men with money and all of this type of stuff and the standards that you're supposed to have. Oh, he should do this for you, he should do that. And so you applying that to your life when you're living in an environment with men who don't make the money to be able to do the things that you want. It's unrealistic, and I do feel like we take their standards and apply it to our lives when it does not apply. It doesn't. So I feel like you could kind of get lost about what's real when it comes to relationship and what's not. Like, yeah, relationships do have struggles, and I do feel like in Soul Food there was a lot of struggle love there, but I also feel like it was realistic. There's a lot of struggle love in real life, and it shaped my idea by making me aware of the different ways that a relationship could go, giving me different perceptions of romantic relationships. So I'm not going into relationships thinking that it's going to be perfect and I'm going to have the perfect man and he's going to do this, that, and the third for me, or the perfect person, because we're not heterosexual over here. So yeah, partner. Because I looked at a movie that made it seem like, men are supposed to just come into your lives and save you and mend your broken heart and all of these things, or people are supposed to come into your lives and save you and mend your broken heart and all of these things. But that's not always the case, and you need to be mending your own broken heart. So, and I feel the same way about my second movie, which is Waiting to Exhale. I feel like Waiting to Exhale has so many examples of how real relationships could be. You have Bernadine's character who sacrificed a lot for a husband who ends up leaving her for a woman. It didn't matter that woman's race. Like, she was a woman and she got left for a woman. She definitely was stuck on it being a white woman. You left me for a white woman? She was stuck on that, but that's not what's important. What's important is she sacrificed her life. She prioritized her marriage above everything else. She prioritized her husband above herself, her kids, and everything else. And in the end, she was left with nothing. He didn't even want to give her money. He didn't even want to pay to take care of his kids. He just wanted to part ways with her and allow another woman to reap the benefits of her hard work. Now, was she showing up at his office every day, running his business? No. However, she was helping him. She was watching his books. She was giving him advice, guiding him in the directions that she felt like he should go to have a successful business. And he left her for another woman. And that taught me that you can be a good woman to people You can be a good person to people. You can make sacrifices. You can compromise. You can do everything it takes to make your relationship work, and that person will still leave you for somebody else. And being honest, you can't even really blame them because you did those things. You decided to make those decisions. You wanted to sacrifice your life, your goals, whatever it is that you wanted to do to build this person up. And that's something that you have to deal with yourself. Yes, they are accountable for leaving you the way that they did, but you are accountable for the way that you moved in their life. Then you have Whitney Houston's character who's single and she is trying to find the right man, but she's having a hard time. Like, she's not coming across men who genuinely want her or she's genuinely interested in. She's struggling. And then she has a on again, off again relationship with a married man. And, you know, her mom is literally like influencing her to stay with this man, but she saw the value in herself and realized that she deserved more than that. And I respected her for coming to that conclusion. Then you have Loretta Devine's character who is single and doesn't want a man. She pours her energy into her son and being a mother. She isn't really worried about like a romantic relationship. She's being a mom and she's just living her life single and not really worried about it. You know, also waiting for a man too who isn't even interested in her. I think her baby daddy was bisexual or whatever. And of course, back then, when you hear a man bisexual, you feel the opinion is that he's gay, and that's not the case. Bisexual is bisexual. Stop the double standard when it comes to men. It's weird. But she was waiting for her son's father to come back around, and he rejected her again, and then she feels some type of way. And like, you just see these women who, I don't want to use the word desperate, but they desire love and they want love, but they are going through issues where they can either become jaded or they can heal themselves. And all of them are on a different journey, but they all want the same thing. Like, what her name is. Okay, we had Savannah, which is Whitney Houston. We had Bernadine, which is Loretta Devine. We have, no, Bernadine is Angela Bassett. Gloria is Loretta Devine. Savannah is Whitney Houston, and was it Robin? Robin, I think is her name. Her character, the same way, waiting for a man. He's married, and like, she's kind of the side chick. She ends up getting pregnant, telling him, and he does not care. So she ends up having to decide if she's going to raise her baby alone or get rid of it. Like, they're all going through real situations, and it just showed me that you could desire love, but it may not show up for you in the way that you want it to show up or in the way that you expect. And these real things can happen. So I learned not to sacrifice who I am. I learned not to, shrink myself for a person. And I learned that even though I may be a good woman or a good person, doesn't mean that a person is going to cherish that. It doesn't mean that everybody is going to cherish that. So I have to know my value and only accept what is best for me. And maybe the best thing for me is to be single. Like, I'm one of those people that I'm okay with dating people or being in relationships and it lasting however long it lasts. And when it ends, it ends. Like, I'm not stuck on forever or wanting to be with this person for 20, 30 years. I'm not comparing my relationships to my parents and other people. I am making these decisions for myself. I'm going into relationships, having my own standards and not looking at what everybody else is doing and comparing them to me, but figuring out what I want in a partner, what I need, what I desire, so I would have a better chance at finding somebody who is right for me. So my third one is Love Jones. And Love Jones taught me, I feel like Love Jones influenced me. I'm gonna be honest. Looking at Love Jones, there are superficial experiences that I desire to have based off of what I saw there, because I feel like Darius Love Hall is so similar to me. His character, his personality, just the way that he thinks, the way that he feels, the way he expresses himself and stuff like that. So I feel like Love Jones is my fantasy love movie. So whenever I'm in the mood of because I am somebody who hasn't dated in like 10 years. I haven't been in a relationship in 10 years. I haven't dated anyone in 10 years. So I've just been really focusing on my career and everything. So whenever I get in the mood of, I want some companionship, or you know how sometimes you get in the mood of like wanting that, not necessarily loneliness, but wanting that interaction, that romantic interaction with somebody, but not having access to it because you're not putting yourself out there. But because I'm not putting myself out there for real. But Love Jones is like a comfort romance movie to me. When I kind of want the endorphins, I want to tap into the serotonin, my endorphins, the oxytocin, get that like high that you get from connecting with somebody. That's what I watch. I watch Love Jones, and it it satisfies that desire to an extent. However, I don't look at it and hope and wish and pray for experiences like that. Like, I know that that's not reality. I know the chances of me finding somebody who is also a creative, it's not slim, because I feel like nowadays creatives have emerged and there are a lot out there or whatever, but that don't mean that dating another creative is going to have the best results for me. It could be somebody who isn't creative at all. I don't see something like that working, but what do I know? I haven't really dated much in my life, and that is something that I am working on. Like, I do want to work on that. I am working on it. It's not normal for me to just be in here and like not even concerned with dating or whatever. But like I said, if I'm meant to be by myself, I'm okay with that. But Love Jones is pretty much just like a filler romance movie for me. So whenever I'm in the mood to have that interaction, or I'm in the mood to like get those chemicals pumping in my brain or whatever, I watch it. But I feel like Love Jones feeds into the fantasy love that we all want, the love that we all crave and desire. Having someone like Darius Love Hall, who is very expressive of his emotions and his wants, his needs, his desires, and not being afraid to say, I love you. I love you and I want to be with you. And even if that's not forever, I'm okay with that. And that's pretty much the type of time that I'm on. So that's how it also influenced my ideas of love, because it makes me a lot more free with love, if that makes sense. I'm freer. Like, I want to be free and I want them to be free. I don't want to put those pressures of forever and it has to be this and it has to be that on it or whatever. Like, I am open to love coming to me in the way that it does, and me setting my intentions and having, my standards and all of that. And that's some exercises that I do need to do. Deciding what type of person I want to be with, what type of person will compliment me, what works for me, what I want. And Love Jones just kind of feeds into like the superficial fantasy side of love. And I do feel like it's possible for you to connect with somebody the way that Darius and Nina connected and have that type of relationship. But their relationship, the thing that I really like about it and the influence that it had on me, that it just didn't have those pressures. There was no pressures. Like, he was free with her, but he also was possessive, but not in a stifling or suffocating way. It was like, I want to love you now. Like, let me love you now, and whatever happens, happens. Like, let's just sit here in this space with me, and let's love each other. Let's give each other that love that we both desire from each other or whatever, without putting pressures on it. And she was scared. Nina was scared, and she like, why you gotta be right now? Like, I'm chasing my career. And he like, cause I love you right now. And that's the type of time that I be on. Okay. So number 4 is brown sugar. And I kind of feel like brown sugar, taught me that when you have feelings for someone, if it's a friend, if it's, a friend of the family, if it's your friend, somebody you've known forever, but you've never been able to like admit that that's what it is, and like you're sitting by being their friend, watching them have a relationship with somebody else, which I feel is weird. It's kind of weird. Knowing that you got feelings for them, brown sugar basically taught me that when you have feelings for somebody, you need to speak up. You need to speak up, shoot your shot, whatever it is that you want to call it. You need to speak up and be honest with that person. And I feel like it's kind of weird to be friends with somebody that you actually are in love with, and like, but it's almost like you're waiting for them to see it. So you remain friends with them. You giving them advice on their relationship. You're hanging around. It's kind of weird to me, but it influenced me to be honest about my feelings about somebody, because you never know how they may feel about you. And I feel like everybody should do that. Shoot your shot. And even if you get rejected, that's life. Move on. Like, okay, cool. They don't want me in that way. Move on. It might mess up the friendship or whatever. Definitely lose that friend. But I feel like sometimes you have to weigh your options and decide if it's worth it. And I feel like brown sugar just, it influenced me to always be honest about my feelings, because you never know how somebody feels about you. And I think that that's important. So the last one, of course, is If Beale Street Could Talk. And this movie is gonna be, if it's a positive list, it's always gonna be on my list, because I just feel like they just across the board got it right. But If Beale Street Could Talk reminded me of the purity and the innocence of love, and just like being in love with somebody and like falling in love, and it just being this fuel for you to fight for that person, because that's what she did. She fought for him. She had to do a lot of things alone because of the things that they were going through, but it just showed me that pure love can withstand the test of times. Like, when you have a love like that for somebody, you know them thoroughly, to the point that you know what they are capable of, things that they would do and things they wouldn't do. And Tish never doubted Fonny for a second when he was accused of assault. She never doubted him, and not only that, but because of the way she loved him, she motivated her family and his dad to fight for him, in a way that, a lot of people wouldn't have gotten. A lot of people don't get that. but I feel like they fought for him. They had that unconditional love, and even though he was in trouble for something he didn't do, he had people fighting for him. And I feel like it just reminded me, because I've been in relationships. I wouldn't say that I'm jaded, but I'm more cautious about who I date, because I went through a lot. With my ex, he was narcissistic, he was abusive, mentally, emotionally, physically, not hitting me, but sexual assault, physical. So he was physically abusive. Um, there was abuse, like the relationship was just toxic, and when you're in a toxic relationship, it can make you more guarded. It can make you jaded. It could change you a lot. And the most important thing for me was to not allow what I went through to change who I was. You know how people, they get their heart broken and all of a sudden you go around and break other people's heart. I just kind of feel like if you got your heart broken one time and that influences you to break other people's heart, you were never a good person. You were never a good person. Good people wouldn't do that regardless. Like, I've been through a lot, but I would never do to someone what someone else did to me, especially knowing how that feel. But coming out of a toxic relationship and feeling like, dang, is this really what I'm gonna have to go through to be in a relationship with somebody? Like, is this really what's out there? Like, and I see a lot of women going through a lot of the same things that I went through with men. So looking at that and like having that experience can make you jaded. It can make you afraid to step out and give somebody else a chance. And I do feel like I have my reservations. I don't really trust, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really trust men like that. Throughout my healing process, I tried not to hate men. Like, I was purposely trying not to. And I formed I formed a few relationships that went bad and kind of added to what I already went through. So it did make me have my reservations. And now it takes a little bit more for men specifically to gain access to me because of that. But if Bill Street Could Talk reminded me that there are people out there who have pure hearts, who are not bad people, who are not toxic, who won't uh abuse you in any way. It just kind of reminded me of what love is supposed to be, and how, it's supposed to be unconditional. Unconditional does not mean that no matter what somebody does to you, you're going to stick around and you're going to love them and you're going to be in a relationship. No, unconditional love means accepting somebody fully for who they are, knowing them in a way that you kind of not necessarily become them, but you just know how they think, you know how their brain, you know how they operate, so you know what they are capable of and what they're not capable of. Having that discernment and being able to judge a person's character fairly, because I feel like I'm a fair person. I feel like it just reminded me of the possibilities if I give love a chance again. And I really cherish the movie because of that. I cherish movies that make me feel like that's out there. Like, I know that that's out there. It may not be perfect, like, it may not be superficial, it may not be perfect. And I have enough common sense to know what's reality and what's not, and not to fall into the fantasy land and thinking that I'm gonna have a perfect partner and all of this and all of that. Like, I know better. But movies like If Beale Street Could Talk and like The Photograph and even The Perfect Find, it kind of gives you that, it kind of inspiring. It inspires you not to give up on love, not to think that it's not out there for you. And that's why it's important. And I know for this video, I was kind of all over the place. It's kind of long. I went into depth about a lot of things or whatever, but I thought that I should do 5 romance movies that influence my ideas of love. Also have a whole lot of other ideas that I want to do for this channel when it comes to dating and relationships, to kind of hold myself accountable and to kind of not force myself but encourage me to actually go out there and find it for myself. So I have a lot of different content coming up and stuff like that. So yeah, let me know what y'all think about this list. Also, what are 5 romance movies that influence your ideas of love, and how did they influence your ideas of love? But thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about it, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye. I was 2 years old the first time I stole something. It was a measly bag of candy out of the grocery store. I was smart for a 2-year-old, so I left the grocery store without getting caught. I would have gotten away with it if my brother Rollo hadn't told our parents on me. My parents took it easy on me since I was a little girl, and they even got on Rollo for snitching. Because of the way they responded to that situation, I figured it was okay for me to steal, so I kept it up. The things I took got bigger as I got older, not in size, but in importance. You ready to get that rum cutting I owe you for the 3rd time?
Nah, I'm ready to redeem myself though.
I hope you know I ain't taking it easy on you.
I expect nothing less from the undisputed champ.
Alright, let's get to it then. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. At age 6, I took a liking to computers and other technology. I came across a beginner's hacking book at the local library and started practicing on all of the technology around me. As things became more advanced in the tech field, I became better at it until it was second nature. I would hack into school computers and gaming systems and give them viruses. Then I would get rid of the viruses. Eventually, I could break into the school gradebook program software and change grades, hack people's personal computers to find sensitive information, pin people's locations through social media and cell phone towers, and destroy entire computer systems to the point of no return. Sometimes, people would pay me to do those things, and I was always willing to take on the challenge because I enjoyed it. I may have given up stealing for a year, but I needed something else to keep me busy. So hacking was my new game.
Shoot.
3 times in a row? Dang. I would say I'm impressed, but I've been spanking your behind since we met.
Don't remind me. I mean, I know you're a prodigy and everything, but can't nobody be unbeatable. We've all tried to take your title, and we've all failed. How are you so good at this?
What can I say? I got a gift. Before you go, check out my website at srgraham.org and subscribe to my mailing list to get exclusive updates on works in progress, other news, and blog posts. Thank you.